Hi and welcome back once again to Movies Suck. A couple of nights ago I found myself at a loose end, and while I have a lot of reviews to finish writing and other projects that are taking a long time due to unforeseen circumstances, I decided that I just had to watch a zombie movie, preferably something a bit modern and obscure. While looking, I came across a movie from last year named Shed of the Dead, an obvious play on Shaun of the Dead.
Would anyone like a peanut?
Now this on its own was not enough to entice me, but a quick check on IMDb and I found that the one and only Emily Booth was in this movie. So my low expectations were raised just a little. She is best known for things like the computer game review show Bits and the very, very low budget, and it shows, Pervarella, and numerous other low budget Screamfest type movies, and for being the face of the horror channel. So, while her presence didn't make me think this movie was going to be great, it did make me look forward to seeing what she might be doing in this movie, as she is both crazy and hot, and from what I've heard, an extremely down-to-earth and lovely person. I sat back and watched what I was hoping would be a diamond in the rough, as if there is one thing I love, it is B-movies, especially those B-movies that thought they were A-movies, as they can be quite exceptionally interesting. This movie, on the other hand, was not that. This was a low-budget movie that did nothing to hide how low-budget it was. I could in fact have probably made this movie in my local allotment and my house without any difficulty, and honestly, that's kind of how it looked.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
But that is exactly the look the filmmaker was going for, as this movie seems to be a sequel of sorts to Shaun of the Dead.
Just over there, over the 20 garden fences.
What's the matter, David? Not taken a shortcut before?
Seemingly set within the same universe, it takes place in another location with a different, small group of rather dim-witted people who have about as much chance of surviving a zombie apocalypse as I have of walking on the surface of the sun. First and foremost, Brian Blessed.
Gordon's alive?
Yes, you heard me, the great Brian Blessed is the narrator of this movie, and damn, just hearing his voice is enough to give this movie extra brownie points.
As the good Lord said, love thy neighbour as thyself. Unless he's Turkish, in which case, kill the bastard!
It was just so unexpected and awesome that I had even greater hope that this was going to be a well-spent hour and a half.
2 hours later.
The movie starts out with our intrepid hero Trevor. Well, intrepid is possibly too much of a reach, as he's just an unemployed loafer who likes to hang out in his shed and paint World of Warcraft figurines. And he even has his own special one, Casimir, who is his own personal avatar in the game. He often fantasizes that he, in the guise of Casimir, makes important life decisions that really don't represent his own abilities, but which get him through the day with his rightfully annoying and harsh wife. One day, Trevor is in the shed painting his figurines when he is accosted by the allotment bully Mr. Parsons, who tells him essentially the same thing his wife does, which is that he is a useless waste of space that is ruining the allotment for everyone else by not actually even attempting to grow anything. Well, other than weeds. Mr. Parson then tells him that he has gotten up a petition to have Trevor removed from the allotment, a move that angers Trevor, as otherwise he would have to be at home with his wife, and that is something he desperately wants to avoid. Events take a crazy turn when the next day Trevor thinks he killed Mr. Parsons, and decides to hide the body by cutting it up in his shed and then burying it on his allotment. He gets as far as cutting off the legs, but then things get even crazier when an unexpected zombie apocalypse takes place. And while he is attempting to deal with the body, it comes to life and begins attacking him. This sets into motion a series of events involving a creepy American serial killer who has been burying bodies on his own allotment, Trevor's best and equally useless mate, his wife, and the aforementioned Emily Booth as his wife's best friend, and her gimp-masked client. I'm not really sure how to explain that one, but suffice to say, it's a little bit strange. Though I was surprised to see Michael Berryman, better known as Pluto from the original The Hills Have Eyes and The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, classic horror movies that kick-started the inbred mutant in the middle of nowhere movie genre. I can only imagine what an honour it was for Emily Booth, a well-known horror aficionado, to get to work with him, even if it was just for a couple of short scenes. If you've seen Shaun of the Dead, you can imagine where this film is going, but unfortunately it goes there without the laugh-out-loud humour that great movie had, as the humour in this movie generally manages to fall flat, though this is the fault of a script that just wasn't clever enough to pull off humour, rather than the cast that did the best they could with what they had. Standout moments were the creepiness of the American serial killer, and whatever you do, don't ask him what he has in his bag. Seriously, don't ask. And the weird as hell Emily Booth in the bathroom with Trevor's best mate Graham, who is just thrilled to get to be intimate with her, even if she is a zombie. And of course, Brian Blessed's narration, which is just epic, as is the great man himself.
One night this bloody polar bear came along and he just shrieked with its paw and his whole head came through. And of course, there it was, his face was right in front of me. I went, bang! Straight on his fucking nose! And he went, and ran off.
So my verdict is that if what you're looking for is an odd take on the zombie genre that you haven't seen before, and once you've seen it you will probably never want to see again, then this is the movie for you. If what you are looking for is a quirky, strange little movie that is in a similar vein to Shaun of the Dead but without the budget and talent, and like me you're a glutton for punishment, then this is the movie for you. If, on the other hand, you want a great zombie movie that will have you on the edge of your seat as the survivors fight off a brain-munching horde of zombies while batting one-liners back and forth, then this is absolutely not the movie for you. You're going to need to go and watch Shaun of the Dead or 28 Days Later or, my personal favourite, The Dawn of the Dead. The original, not the remake, as while the remake's a good movie, it just doesn't compare to George A. Romero's masterpiece. This has been Movie Suck saying, when it's late at night and you just have to watch an obscure zombie movie, then pick one from the 70s or 80s, because they were just so much cooler and more interesting. Signing out, leave a like, share, subscribe, and I will catch you guys on the flip side.